Hello, friends. Life is such a complicated and convoluted thing that it can sometimes surprise us all. One way or another, we all plan for the future. Some of us imagine our future selves to be rich and successful people. We often think that our current hardships are only temporary and that our futures will be much simpler. But it also happens that instead of our anticipated successes, fate has other plans. At that point, even a relatively successful person can reach rock bottom with no chance of getting out of there. Today, our story will focus on a person who was left alone to face all of his problems. But instead of giving up, like many would have done in his position, he came up with something genius that completely turned around his life. Glenn Berger's story started 14 years ago, when after a relatively successful period of time in which he did not want for anything, the young man suddenly became unemployed. You would think that it's a common predicament that happens to everybody, and that's exactly what the young man thought. But when weeks became months and he was not able to find a source of income, he saw life in a different light. It was so hard for him that he was literally going hungry. When it felt like all hope was gone, he came up with a genius idea. Glenn recalls that it was a strange feeling to be unable to change anything at a particular moment in time. He was going hungry in his apartment when not far from him, rich people played golf at the local golf club. Glenn watched them and caught himself thinking that even a golf ball was doing something. He felt like a complete loser. After having those thoughts, he told himself to stop. He thought about how many golf balls must be sitting at the bottom of the lake, and that they too cost money, even if only a couple dollars. Exactly this thought is what forced him to take action. Those who have never played golf might be curious to find out a few facts about the game. First of all, the balls are easy to lose. Second of all, their prices are quite high. More precisely, 3 golf balls cost between $6 and $20 at a time. Of course, the price depends on where you buy them, their brand and quality. What's most interesting is that golf players usually lose at least 2 balls in just one round. If you take a stroll on a golf course, you will likely see golf balls that were lost by unlucky players. What about a man-made lake or reservoir on the golf course? I can't even imagine the number of golf balls sitting at the bottom. That's exactly what the young unemployed man named Glenn was thinking about at the time. That same evening, he took all the necessary equipment and approached the water to start looking for golf balls. He later recalls before diving in, he came up with a calculated plan. He approximated that a ball that he would take from the water would cost at least $1, and some might even cost $3. He was well aware of the fact that a lot of golf balls get lost during the course of a game. That's money that someone just had to retrieve. His first catch was not too large, but he was still able to take out about 100 balls. The next day, he successfully sold them for $1 per ball at a nearby training camp. He liked the outcome and decided to continue earning money this way while he was unemployed. Every night, he would approach the lake and dive in and search for golf balls. In 1 month, he earned about $3,000. You would have to agree, that's not too bad for someone who was unemployed. I'll get ahead of myself to say that it was only the beginning of something much bigger. When the lakes and the first few public golf clubs were cleared of golf balls, Glenn wondered what to do next. Glenn was good at diving and getting the balls. In addition to deciding to clean up all public lakes, he also decided to offer his services to private golf clubs. 15 years have now passed since the moment he decided to get into his old pickup truck to look for new locations. Many people are likely to think that this is pretty dirty work and that there isn't a lot of money in it. The numbers I'm about to talk about might shock you. Over the past 15 years, this unusual job earned Glenn $16 million. It turned out to be a lucrative job, even though it isn't simple. Glenn oftentimes comes face to face with snakes and even alligators who sometimes swarm in the lakes. When Glenn was interviewed by a famous newspaper, he said that while he is swimming at the bottom, the animals usually swim above him. The smaller aquatic creatures are especially interested in this activity. The scariest incident occurred in 2007. When Glenn dove in to get a golf ball, a 2-meter alligator got onto his back. The man got scared but reacted quickly and got away without any injuries. Today, Glenn Berger is a successful businessman who specializes in retrieving golf balls from lakes. The man explains that his strategy is very creative, and even though it is dangerous, it enabled him to buy a house and a yacht. In general, he no longer needs to deny himself anything. Glenn openly speaks about the numbers. On average, he retrieves over 1.6 million balls each year and sells each one back to the golf club for $1 to $3. A simple calculation reveals that his yearly income comes out to over $5 million. This is even more impressive, knowing that this used to be a desperate person who resorted to stealing golf balls. Without concealing his happiness, Glenn tells journalists that he anticipated to make some money, but never imagined how lucrative this business would turn out to be. Glenn decided to go further by setting up a company that works exclusively with 34 lakes in golf clubs. He can now easily predict his income. For example, the average golf course hosts about 30,000 18-hole rounds each year. As mentioned earlier, statistics show that every round, players lose an average of 1 to 2 balls in the lake. The 34 lakes can generate income in the millions. Glenn refers to public golf courses as golf ball farms. They are special in the sense that a lot of balls get lost on them. But the man decided not to stop at them and partners with elite, private golf clubs where he retrieves expensive golf balls. Sometimes he sells them back for up to $10 a ball. Of course, a lot has changed from the moment when Glenn first dove into the lake. Licenses for retrieving balls were introduced, and now Glenn has competitors. Despite all this, his company operates in full swing and brings in crazy profits. What an unusual story about a man who at one point simply observed rich men playing golf, but later decided that their hobby could become his business. As it turned out later, this decision brought in a fortune for him. Sometimes the most profitable ideas are right in front of us. We just have to understand what to do with them. Friends, do you agree with this? Make sure to share your opinions in the comments. That's all for today. Rate the video if you liked it. See you soon. Bye!